Good afternoon, or morning, whatever time it is you're listening or watching on. It is your host, Petey, on CKRT Border City Radio, coming at you live from the studio. We have quite a few special guests. Not only is it the most guests we've ever had in the studio at one given time, but they're also just amazing at what they do. We have the group and band Harbouring Illusions. Thank you all for coming in today and taking the time to do this interview. So let's just start with, how did the band form?
Well,
Either microphone works.
okay. This one's closer.
Sure thing.
Well, we started out, Dodek and I, just kind of fiddling around and playing ourselves with our son, who had just picked up the guitar, and I wanted to join them. So Dodek had told me he would get me a bass, and I loved it. And well, after that, our son was no longer interested in playing guitar after a while, and then Dodek and I didn't want to stop. So we found someone who was interested in joining us and playing drums. And from that point on, we started writing our own music. Down the road, we switched up some players and added some new players as we went along. And this is what you're seeing right now. This is Harbouring Illusions.
Right on. I was talking a little bit to Derek yesterday about sound and how Harbouring Illusions doesn't necessarily want to sound like that cliche classic rock. They want it it's its own sound. And I want to ask, how did you all kind of develop that? How did you come up with this is what you wanted to be known as?
So that's actually difficult. That's actually difficult to describe. The best way is we try to classify our music when we submit to any radio stations and any other kind of outlets, and it's very hard to pinpoint where are we usually. I mean, it's like they give us different options. It's a indie rock. It's something other, some other basically categories of music. We can never pinpoint ourselves as a specific category. So how do we sound? We sound basically what we feel at this point, and sometimes we play what's called southern rock. Sometimes we play something almost like jazzy, like what's recently is being developed. So the music is kind of really widely changes.
Fair. How about let's jump to you, Dustin.
Sure.
You play keyboard.
Yep.
How long have you been playing keyboard for?
Oh, geez. I think I started when I was 7.
When you were 7, wow.
Yeah. So I've been playing for a long time, and I started as a player studying classical music, but I also played a lot by ear. As I was growing up, I took an interest in jazz and rock music as well. And I actually studied music. I have a degree in music, and I have a master's degree in musical composition as well. So I have a lot of training and a lot of background. I've played in a lot of different projects over the years, but kind of where I fit into the group, I think, is I'm able to exercise the jazz organ muscle as much as I can. That's kind of my favorite at this point in time. And one of the best compliments I've had as a player was with this group. We were playing in Amherstburg, and an old guy came up and he said, "You a fan of Jimmy Smith?" And I'm like, actually, Jimmy Smith's one of my favorite organists of all time. So what a great compliment that someone was able to hear that, and what a wonderful experience for me to be able to bring that to the group. So these guys are great about, bringing your own style in and adding that and layering that within the sound that's already there. And I think what I see for the future is we'll continue to expand and evolve and make that sound probably more eclectic, but also more exciting, I think, for people to listen to.
Interesting. It almost sounds like, although you're trying to do something new for a sound, you're not forcing it. You're letting whatever comes naturally, and you're embracing it, which is very unique, especially in this area. A lot of people tend to be confined to a one box per se, and that's definitely not the case with this group. And it's a very unique take on it. And I must say, it's very cool seeing the different talent that's in this room right now. Usually, you got your one guitarist, your bassist, maybe like your drummer and your singer. This is a lot of different people doing a lot of different roles, and even not just like performance wise. Like, for instance, Derek you're the guitarist and you're coming in to, scout the scene and see, like, how all the stuff for the band is gonna look. And I really do admire all the roles that everyone's doing
Yeah, I
to
mean,
keep the band going. It's really cool.
yeah, no, my role is not only guitar player. I mean, from the music perspective, I'm guitar player, but from the band perspective, I also do all the sound, all the lights, I'll scout the venues, basically make sure that we understand what we're playing and what's required technically for us to be successful in a particular venue to sound good.
Interesting. All right, let's move to
I'll just put it on the table. I'm loud enough.
Jimmy.
I think I'm loud enough. I guess I'll start with where I come into the band. I come into the band out of a jam night. At this point, you got Shelby and Dark, and you got Jerome, and they come out there, and I don't know, I was just sitting in the audience after I had done my performance, and was just thinking, there's a piece missing. That the sound's good, but there's a piece missing. There's something that's not holding it here. So another friend of mine, he comes over, give me a nudge. He goes, go over there and ask that lady. He's going and doing the tee thing, and go over there and ask that lady if you can join her band. So I kind of looked at him weird, and I agreed. I'll go over there and I'll ask her. So I come over and I talk to Shelby, and she gave me her phone number. Said, call me in the morning. I said, oh, all right. So dumbfounded at how well that went, I went and back and sat down and called her the next morning, and all of a sudden things started to go on the roll.
Wow.
When we got on the beginning, I got them to agree to come meet me in Windsor, and we did a jam over at the Victoria Tavern. And my friends there, I asked them what they thought of what it sounded like, and they said it reminds them a lot of the 60s and 70s psychedelic music. So that's kind of where I wanted to kind of go into. So I decided, yeah, this will work a lot better than what I thought.
Right on.
And then the next thing, Shelby and I started writing a couple of songs, and then it just becomes. I don't know how other bands just become, but for us, I think it just became. Like we got a lot of family support and stuff like that, and I think that's important.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to build your base at home first before you can make a really good, solid move, right?
We had Jody Raffoul come in not too long ago, and he was explaining why he believes that the Beatles are the greatest group ever. And he said it's not because either or any of them are the best in their one particular thing. He said it was because of the simple fact that they all loved each other, and that bond between them all, the chemistry of the band, is what made the band so authentic. And it was a very interesting take, but I see a very similar thing with the group of you. The chemistry is definitely there.
I would like to say that I think we are all friends, and that was really important to me. I said it has to be a band family. Like, you don't want to work with somebody who doesn't want to be there, or they're just there because they just want to perform and they're out for themselves. I feel like with each one of these people in the room, we're like a band family.
For sure, and I totally see that as well. Jerome,
Yes.
you're the drummer.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me. What got you into drums?
Well, it's something I always wanted to do since I was a kid, and so I got right to it when I was 53. I started taking lessons. So I just put it off for a long time. Finally, I just decided to do it, and I took some lessons up at Long McQuaid in Windsor, and with Cody Williamson, great guy, great drummer. And then I went to open mic night at Music Lane in Amherstburg, and I just sat there the whole night listening to acts because they didn't see anybody I could actually play with at that point. And then I was just about to leave, and the manager said, "Would you like to get in the kit?" So I got in the kit, and I started playing "Come Together" by the Beatles. Right? Everybody
Great
knows
song.
that song, great song. And there were some musicians there that knew the guitar work, and one of them knew the lyrics as well. So we got the song going, and then Derek and Shelby were walking out, and Shelby said, "We're looking for a drummer." At that point, they didn't have one. So she said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "Yes." And she gave me her phone number, and I called her the next couple of days. And then I went over to their place for like an audition, a jam session. And that got me in the band at that point.
Right on.
And then it was just the three of us for a while. And then I mentioned there was open mic nights at Maroka and McGregor. So we went there, and that's what Jimmy was talking about there. That's where we picked Jimmy up. So, and this is my first band. I've never been in a band before.
How's that experience for you?
It's been great. It's been really exciting.
How many shows have you done?
I don't know how many, but it's been just over a year since I started gigging.
Okay.
So it's been really exciting, and it's really good to work with good friends too. Like we don't get along really well. That's a very important part of it to make it work, obviously.
Absolutely.
So it really works for us.
The name Harbouring Illusions. How did that come to be? It's a great name.
Okay. So, with our previous drummer, we were throwing around some names, and he suggested that this is a long time ago. This is like pre this group of people. He was throwing out names. He says, "I always wanted to call a band Flashes of Greatness." And I'm like, wow, I don't know if I could live up to something like that. I think you're harboring illusions, and that's what we're harboring.
That's a great way for it. Wow. What a origin story. That's awesome. So let's move over to songwriting. Someone comes up with an idea for a song. How does it have to get the A-OK from everybody? Does the instrumental come first and then we get lyrics, or vice versa? What's your start to finish from idea in your head to hit play and listen? How do you all come up with the songs and compromise together on them?
It's been that part of it for me has been the most fun, the most beautiful part of being in a band. It started out with me sitting with my bass on cold winter nights, just sitting there and like just writing lyrics. And I would write, like I play mostly melodic bass, so I would be playing the bass and creating the melodic line and the lyrics, and I'd be writing. And that's how we did the first album. And then I would bring the song to Dodek and our other drummer, and then the three of us did that first album. But what I'm seeing happening now is everybody here's so talented, and as we get to know each other more and as we gig more, each person is bringing like some more to the table. So for example, when Jimmy said that we started writing, was that last summer? I think that was last summer. Like Jimmy started creating some like riffs, and then we worked together to songwrite. And then this year, for the first time, Dodek had like created a really beautiful riff that we sat down and worked on. Like he came up with the riff, and then I sat with him and we wrote "Love Is a Vampire," which I think you're going to be playing at some point today.
Yes.
We had just dropped that single. And then Dustin's been adding like his own like really interesting vibe. Like for "Love Is a Vampire," I didn't see it that way, but when I heard him play it, it was like, oh, yeah, that is so cool and different, and I love it. So
Interesting.
it has like evolved, and it's continuing to evolve as like more people are getting more comfortable with the band and feeling more comfortable too. And Jerome's like, I'm gonna write a song, so I'm waiting for Jerome's song to be coming out, and like that's the best part of being in the band, is that creative part.
For sure. So it almost seems like you all work on it in layers.
Yeah.
One layer at a time.
Yes.
The song doesn't just become a song. It takes quite a while before we got the layers all straightened out.
For sure.
It's like combing your hair, you know. It's a little knotted in the beginning, but then, you know, it straightens itself out.
That's a great analogy.
I remember that.
I think though, like what so what's interesting for me in the songwriting process is I haven't been involved in original music for a long time. So I've spent a lot of time reproducing other forms of music, but what I like is that in spite of that it's a layered experience, Shelby and Darek always seem to have a vision of the mood that they're trying to create. And so, I can add any number of things, but I like to go back to like what are you trying to create? What's the atmosphere, the feeling that you want the listener to have? And so, we can try and experiment, but we always go back to that original vision for the song. What are you trying to, what do you want the listener to experience? So I like that. So, because I can do anything, right? But I like that having that center point to kind of go back to always.
For sure. So, all fun aside, when it comes to making music, there is a serious tone to it. What would you say was one of the more challenging aspects of, being in a band, performing in a band, and what did you all do to overcome it?
Musically or technically?
Whatever way you seem most applicable.
Most challenging part being in the band. Well, I think one of the most challenging parts is like when Shelby comes up with her visions and basically throws at us and like find a way to play with this. And we kind of sometimes we struggle. We play for like a long time, and like the recent riff what we try to turn into the song in the original format we were just playing like a couple of weeks ago. It just didn't seem to be progressing for quite a long time, and then suddenly I just basically changed the timing, changed a little bit of how change the voicing, and suddenly songs start coming out. So those are the challenging parts, but then the outcomes are great.
Oh, for sure. Big risk, high reward.
Yeah, so basically you have to be comfortable with the sound that somebody kind of throws in you, or basically comes from your head, and try to transform into something that it's more palatable to everyone else to understand and kind of like identify with it.
For sure. How about anybody else have any anything that they want to share regarding any challenges they might have had and what they had to do to get over it? If not, it's cool. We can move on.
I'll share something because
Go
I
for
think
it.
it's kind of neat.
It's a tough question.
Well, no, it's actually a really nice open-ended question, and I could probably say 5 different things, but I think what's exciting but also challenging is the momentum that these folks have built. Because I was looking for a way to relax and kind of de-stress from work, but these guys are like driving. They're constantly working to expand and do new things, and it's awesome. But trying to keep up, I think, is one of the challenges. So I've been playing for a long time, but we were doing some weeks 2 and 3 shows a week. So for a person that was doing like a show a month or a show every few months, just keeping up with that momentum. But the problem is every time we do something, it gets better. And so we're increasing the demand, and we're doing radio shows and cable shows, which is fantastic. But keeping up, I guess, is a challenge.
For sure.
I would like to agree with Dustin. I think that's the most challenging part I'm finding is the time. Because, all right, so we put on shows, awesome, but then you don't have time for the creative aspect. You don't have time to sit and write. You don't have time to like, okay, here's a new song, let's all work on this together. And you just have to find some kind of balance. So we really, really toned it down. This fall, I think we all said we gotta slow down so we can finish the album, perfect some things, find our creative voice. We can't gig all the time like this. It was like this summer it was fun, and we had said, okay, this summer we are going to finish the album. That didn't happen because we gigged so much and then we were like, oh my gosh, we got to finish the album. We said it was going to be done this fall, and now it looks like it might be like winter. I really wanted to finish it this year. That was my goal, but so we had to like pull the reins on just accepting all these gigs, taking all these gigs, and
we're still booked. If we're not gigging, we're doing these things.
There you go. That's good though. That's productive.
It's a great problem to have.
That ain't slowing down. I got my foot on the gas. I'm sorry.
There you go. So you all have a new song out. It's called "Love Is a Vampire." Tell us a little bit about that before we throw into it.
okay, Dodek, you start because you wrote the riff.
Yeah, so basically, I was just playing with the different kind of versions of something kind of like an old blues riff, and it's a slide playing certain way, and I come up with this. Shelby liked it. Then we kind of played together. It sounded good. Then Dustin came up with this awesome Dorsey sounding organ, which kind of really made the song feel like I don't know, like older movie. You just drive through the city and kind of like you just look outside the window and kind of like digest the outside, and this music comes up. It just kind of has this great feeling of like love being a vampire.
Yeah.
Awesome. Does anybody want to do the call ID for it? You know, like, hey, it's Shelby from Harbouring Illusions, and you're listening to our new song on CKRT.
Okay.
Whenever
Hey.
you're ready.
Hey, it's Shelby from Harbouring Illusions, and you're listening to our new song, Love is a Vampire, on CKRT.
Listen to that. Love is a Vampire by yours truly, Harbouring Illusions. I just turned my computer screen off. Whoopsies.
The water must be good over there.
Oh, the HDMI. I don't know what happened there.
I'll take the water. Ronald, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not adjust yourself.
Don't mind us. We're just experiencing a slight technical difficulty. Bear with me. Please stand by. Oh, there we go. That's okay. When in doubt, just use a different screen. So, Love is a Vampire. That was a great track. That when did you all release that one? Okay, so it's only a few months old.
Yeah, we wanted to do it before we did the Essex Fun Fest, right? Yeah.
Still fresh off the press.
Yeah.
Did you end up performing? You had a performance last night, right? Or is it today?
Well, okay. Unrelated to this band. Sometimes we just do little pop-ups here and there, Dada and I. But we're playing on Thursday at Bike Night.
Ooh, that's
Colchester Bar
exciting.
Grill. Yeah, it's a fundraiser. And then we're playing the Ruthven Apple Fest on Saturday.
So when you add new songs to the catalog, is it exciting to perform, or do you find it more nerve-wracking because you're not as familiar with them yet?
The exciting part is like when you play the new song and you start getting great response. That's the exciting part.
Oh, for sure.
The nerve-wracking part is the playing the first notes and seeing how they're gonna respond with how they're gonna basically how the audience is gonna respond to those notes. And when you see the great response, it just fuels you.
For sure. Is there a particular show that stands out to any of you that so far has been the pinnacle of performances? It was just the best time you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, that might be different for everybody. Mine was, we played this place in Chatham called the Jazz Bar, and it was so magical. It was this rainy night. It was chilly and rainy, and I felt like I was in Paris or something. It just had this European vibe, and she left the door open so you could see the rain from where we were performing. You could see the rain coming down, and it was so cozy in there, and just the vibe in that place was amazing. Jazz Bar.
Shout out to them. Where is the future of Harbouring Illusions? Like, the word I'm looking for right now is, what do you see the future of Harbouring Illusions going in? Do you see it staying, like a local indie? Do you think you're gonna eventually want to go all across Canada? How is this playing out?
Across Canada, it's a long shot, but definitely playing maybe some shows outside Windsor, maybe closer to Toronto, somewhere in Ontario, some other festivals. That probably will be a great goal of ours. I don't think so. We want to stay in the pubs and bars in Windsor only. It's a nice exposure. It's nice to share our music with the local people, but definitely we would like to basically broaden our spectrum and broaden our audience out of it.
For sure. And I think you would have an immense amount of success with it because you all have a very unique sound and it'll stand out compared to the other competition out there. No matter if you're here in Windsor where it's mostly like a classic kind of rock sound, or if you start going out, more towards west where it gets a little bit more like country-ish, but it's all unique. And I feel like no matter where you all perform at, you'll stand out and there'll be like some sort of impression left behind. So I don't know, maybe it's worth a try going out there, just doing a couple, like one-off gigs and see how it goes. Because I think a lot of people would be genuinely surprised when they hear you.
I think that's the response that we often
Yeah.
You mentioned competition, and I think one of the things that I really enjoy about this group of people is they don't see it that way. And so I see everybody going out and supporting other local artists and making sure that, you're not just a performer, but you're also an audience member and part of the music community in the area too. And I wish I had more time that I could be part of that, but I want to say about these people that they're always out there supporting other local artists too.
we love going and supporting other local. I don't think of it that way. I totally agree with what Dustin said. I don't know if it's our age because we're all older people, and I think that we love it when we hear a great new band like Painted October or like all these young people coming, Expendable Youth. They're like coming on the rise, and that's exciting to me.
It is. It's really cool seeing local talents emerging from the underground scene, and it's nice. Like we had the Painted October, and we had Mara and Coin come in, and they talked a little bit about how they started, and it was just cool hearing because everyone has their own ways. Like for you all, it just kind of, you said it just formed. It found itself. They said that they met each other at Scare House Windsor working there as volunteers, and they just enjoyed scaring each other. And but who would have thought that though, if you never would have known? So it just shows you anywhere it can happen. So that kind of leads to my next question. If you saw another local band or an upcoming group, singer, artist, musician, and they're just starting out, what would you say to them, given your path, your knowledge, and your understanding of the music world today?
First of all, don't give up too early. It's easy to have it's easy. Everyone's gonna have a bad show one day or another, and it's gonna be big question mark. Should I go this way? Or should I just quit and just go back whatever I was doing prior and dream about music sometimes? I say don't give up, keep going. If music is in you, it should come out of you.
Fair.
I'll add something to that. I think being open to new ideas and feedback is a critical part of growing as well. And sometimes you start out thinking things are going to go in a particular way, but along the journey, you hear from other people or somebody gives you a new idea. And I think a mistake people make is to go back to where they started and know this is the path I'm on, instead of being open to other ideas and people making suggestions where, like if you try it, it actually is going to help you to do better. And again, I want to go back to what's great about working with these people is they're open to new ideas, but they also give feedback. So, we like this, we don't like this, here's why it fits, here's why it doesn't fit. And it forces you to go back to where's the original vision? What did we start out with? And how do we kind of come back to that, but in a more evolved way along the path? So that's what I would say to anybody starting out.
Right on. You guys made a music video.
Yes. We made a couple.
We were talking about it, and you all got really excited to share about it. So let's give it the spotlight it deserves. So we heard there's a drone involved in it.
Drone. There's a vampire woman, a vampire lady, and then there's the innocent. I think we named them like Innocentia was the innocent girl running from the vampire. So it's all like an allegory. You have to watch the video to get the full feel. But we had a lot of fun doing it. We made it kind of campy because when I first heard Dustin's like that organ sound. I'm like, I was thinking of Vincent Price, like all those vampire movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's make it like that. And I remember getting so scared when I made it because, like, I played the vampire lady, but I also played the innocent running girl who's running throughout the whole video. And the vampire lady is trying to bring down the girl in several different ways. So she has a gun and she has like a bow and arrow. And then she eventually like blows the kiss of death at her. But I remember like, I was like, I'm a teacher. So I was like freaking out, like, okay, I'm holding these weapons in my hand. I went to my principal. I'm like, do you think this is going to be okay? Like, I just want to give you a warning that in this video, she's like, I think it'll be all right. And I asked Dustin, I'm like, Dustin, what do you think? I got this gun and the bow and arrow. He's like, you'll be all right.
You're getting vampires. I think anybody with
It was a vampire. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was a vampire. And Dustin did have an awesome drone. Dustin did all the drone operating. Dustin, talk about your drone.
Yeah, well, I'm actually the world's worst drone operator, and the drone I believe was faulty. So, I think one of my favorite shots in the video, and it kind of happened by accident. Shelby's laying down on a bit of a ravine in the back of the woods that's behind my house, and it's very picturesque. There's old oak tree and lots of roots on the ground and stuff. But I flew the drone as close to her face as I could, and then I panned up. And it's a great shot, but taking the shot, I was terrified because, like, I just really am not good at controlling this thing, and it doesn't always respond in the way I want it. So it didn't hit her. There were no accidents.
That's a success.
But it was a close call. I could have gone the other way.
Don't laugh. Don't. I was like, trying not to laugh. I'm like laying there pretending I'm dead. He's like, don't laugh. This shot's so good. You're going to love it. Don't laugh.
Just hear the whizzing of the propellers.
I mean,
Don't
I'm
laugh.
so bad that I could have gone down instead of up. Like, it was a 50-50 shot, right? So,
Tell me that now.
yeah.
We have another song of yours called Autumn Night. Tell us a little bit about that one. How did that one come about?
I wrote that song a couple years ago, I would say. And we played it with like a different iteration of the band. And we hadn't recorded it. This was on this new album that we're working on, Rolling Coal. And it's a song about getting older. I think it fits. Anybody can listen to it and resonate with it, but it really fit. You know, we're all getting older here in this band, and we're rolling, but we feel time passing and an urgency. So this is what that song is all about.
What a beautiful concept, though. You know, it's a very honest subject. You know, anybody can make a song about the sun, or you know, like, but it takes a true sense of understanding who you are to be able to put your own personal feelings into songs for the rest of the world to look at, you know? It's almost like putting yourself in a giant clear plexiglass box and saying, here, you can look at me anytime you want. It's something about it that's very beautiful.
Thanks, Pete.
Oh, of course. Welcome back to the mix. We got Harbouring Illusions with us. We got Shelby, Derek, Dustin, Jimmy, and Jerome. They're all hanging out at my home away from home. And thank you again for all taking the time to come in. It really does mean a lot.
It's been fun.
We were talking a little bit about how, like, while the song was playing, beautiful song, by the way, Autumn Night, we were talking about how a lot of people like to put a time limit on dreams and aspirations. And this song was a big stepping point for that, showing it's not just about that, or there's never a point in time where it's too late to go chase after your dreams. And there's a lot of examples, not only just from the premise of the song, but also in the group as well. Like we were saying, Jerome, you've recently learned the drums.
Yes, sir. I was 53 years old before I finally picked it up, even though I wanted to do it for a long time before that.
So tell me a little bit about that. You picked the drums up at 53. How did you motivate yourself to go through that? You know, because I feel like a lot of people at that age, they might not even bother with it. They think, oh, I'm past learning that.
Well, I ever since I was a kid, I was always tapping on desktops and tabletops and everything. much to the annoyance of people around me very often. And but I think it was my father. He first noticed I was keeping a beat, and he kind of suggested I pick up the drums. But I never did it at that point. And I first got on a kit. I think it was 19 years old. It was my sister's boyfriend at the time, and the song. We were at a party, and remember the B-52s?
Oh yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
song Rock Lobster.
Yes, sir. We got it in our playlist.
Well, that song came up, and I started drumming along with it, and I was keeping the beat, and everybody was just amazed. Like, Jerome, where'd you learn how to play the drums, right? So it was in the back of my mind for quite a while, and it never went away. It was always there, It was always, even when I was an adult, like driving trucks, I'd be, on the steering wheel or wherever, I'm keeping the beat with the music on the radio. And so finally, I just decided I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But I never really thought about my age at all. It's just something I wanted to do for a very long time. So I just went ahead and did it.
So if the passion's there,
Yep.
basically what you're saying is age is just the number. If you
Exactly.
have the drive to do it, just go do it. Because
Exactly.
only thing stopping you is you, essentially.
You got it. You got it.
Interesting.
Yep.
Out of all of the songs you've all made, which ones are your favorites? We can go one by one.
I would say for me, obviously, the love is that. I think that's my favorite song right now. That's the direction I like to take. The sound, I love the sound, how it come together. Like it's I think it's a great song. There are more songs coming out that are gonna be also great, but this one so far released, I think it's a great song.
It does. The sounds really do complement each other in it.
So I'm going to say Sunday Morning, and that might surprise everybody, but the reason I love that song is it's outside of the box style-wise, and I think it's an example of where the future may go with the band. So we kind of have an established set of styles, but anytime we step outside of the box, we're growing, and Sunday Morning is a step in that direction to me. It's for my part, I'm thinking like Randy Newman, that's my piano part, so it's a little bit jazzy, a little bit slow, and I just love the feeling that the song brings to the audience. So that's my favorite.
I'm sure the rest of the audience is too, but I'm looking forward to hearing the diversity in it. How about you, Jimmy?
I don't really have a favorite. I think all the songs that we've been doing and that we're looking forward into recording, they're all pretty good. I'm not gonna say we're gonna top any big record charts or nothing, but we'll fall in nice with most of the people that are out there still struggling.
Is there any that maybe you prefer to play? Like that, maybe there's like a iconic riff that you just love doing? That's okay.
I'm always looking to change up. So I mean, what appeals to me today will be what appeals to me today. What appeals to me tomorrow, I haven't got a
Interesting.
clue. Right?
So you're a very in the moment kind of player.
Yeah, that's why I tend to forget everything after I record it. Just trying to scratch it away because tomorrow something else will come into my head, and the fact that a lot of like right now, a lot of the songs are being like where we play them a little more often than not. I mean, it's getting a little more routine. But I mean, it's like somebody told me one time. I think it was a guitar player in Liverpool, Echo anywhere. He told me, he says, what you're doing, he says, is great. He says, I could never do that. He says, because everything I do is all in the box. It's got to be the way it is because I'm trying to replicate something. He says, as far as getting up there and doing freeform, he goes, you got to be one of the nicer guys to listen to. He says because you're definitely free. He says some of it sounds odd, but then it seems like it rolls into something that you're either trying to work out something, or he says then you come out of the mud. And he says the truck is still clean.
Right on.
So I mean, this is I think where like the psychedelia kind of comes in, because a lot of the psychedelic I find it rather odd. You know what I mean? Like, and then there's some really sweet stuff and some really mellow stuff, and then you get the real hard stuff, and then you get that stuff in the middle where they all sound stuck. They're in there, but you know, you're waiting for them to surface, and you know, it's just.
I get you. How about you, Shelby?
My very favorite song is actually from the first album. It's called Dear John. And it's so weird and fun and different. We put like this reggae beat to, and Dodek uses the wah and he does this, I don't even know what's happening there. And I do this really cool bass opening on it that I've heard from Marcus Miller. I was like, oh, that is a great vamp. And so I incorporated that vamp into it, and then it's like reggae and vampy and weird, and I love the lyrics in that one too. So that's my favorite, John. That's for you. You know who you are.
Right on. How about you, Jerome?
Well, Shelby took my answer.
Oh,
Well, you could have your own reason though.
Oh yeah, I do. Well, that's an original that Shelby directed, and I like it because it's got a funky beat. It's really fun to play. It's got a funky beat and that reggae beat that goes with it too. It's really a good song to play. But any song that we start, a new song that we play, I love just picking up the beat right away and making it work. You know, that's really exciting to get it work. Maybe not perfect the first time around, but you know, you get something going right away, and that's always exciting for me to do. But Dear John is the song that we play the best.
Right on.
It's a fun song to play.
Has there ever been a moment, because it happens all the time with live performances, something's bound to go wrong eventually. What was a moment where something went wrong and it was the most impressive, the show must go on moment, and you made it work?
You always make it work. There's always something not working 100%. So.
Oh, remember when you were sick at the 519? Oh my God, Dodek was so sick. He had to actually go during the break and lay down in the car. I'm like, where is he? He's like, probably had this fever of 105 or something. And the show went on.
Wow.
And the poor guy was like so ill.
Kudos, that's dedication though. You know, there's some people, I stubbed my toe. We gotta cancel the show. You know, tell all these thousands of people that drove cities over to go home, you know. So kudos for taking the one for the band, one for the team, and
that's the time when that becomes a little bit more work. You want to deliver a performance. You go out there. People expect from you. People pay you for the show, right? Mm-hmm. So they expect the best performance possible. So you have to deliver regardless, right?
Absolutely.
I think one thing we were cursed by in the summer was weather. So it seemed like we were constantly dodging huge storms regardless of where we played. So there were several times we were playing outdoors and watching the clouds come in and looking at the weather app on the phone and going, yeah, our set's done at 8, but we have like a hurricane blowing in at 8:05. So it always seemed like we had lots of plastic nearby just to make sure we were prepared. I remember playing with one hand and holding a tarp with the other hand.
Yeah.
So like that's a trend in some of our shows. Yeah, exactly.
Playing in the rain.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time of your day, of your weekend, to come in, share a little bit about, you know, the band, what you guys are doing, where the sound came from. If there's anyone listening that you would like to say anything to, by all means, the floor is yours.
Everybody, our new album is coming out, Rollin' Coal. It's not fall 2024, but it's going to be coming out soon. So we're finding time to get that done, and you're going to love it.
But in the meantime, you can still listen to all of their currently released hits. If they want to get a hold of your management, or they want to, you know, they want to listen to the tunes, is there a specific website that you would like them to go to, or anything like that?
Absolutely. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere you stream your music. That's where you'll find us. Facebook, you can see our great, fun videos on Facebook, and we post all our gigs and all our info there on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, we got socials, and we're everywhere.
Awesome.
You might even just want to Google us. I think we're the fourth thing that comes up when you Google Harbouring.
Oh, well, that's awesome, though. That's good. That means it's becoming marketable. It's trending.
Or harboring is not a common word that people use.
Or that. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to come in, like I said. If you want to see any more of our podcast, you can totally do that on our YouTube channel if you're listening. And if you're already watching, you can either click there or there or there. I don't know. It'll be somewhere. All right. Have a great rest of your day and an even better rest of your weekend. Speaking of weekend, there's only 3 days of the weekend. You got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you have a song regarding one of those days. We're going to play that one up next. It's Sunday Morning New by the Harbouring Illusions. Here we go.
All right.
Awesome.
That was so fun.
Glad to hear.